If you're ready to talk, we're willing to listen.
Well, I really enjoy this program today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners' participation program.
May God bless every person.
Hey, good afternoon and welcome. It is indeed a terrific Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, even Saturday, Sunday, Monday. All days are awesome. Want you to be a part of a discussion today. Expected to have some open line until 1 o'clock. As you know, the Chamber Legislative Luncheon is ongoing. We're going to take that live, the Honourable Premier's speech in particular. But until then, let's have some open line. You want to share some rumours with me? Stay tuned for Talk Today.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today, the Cayman Islands' foremost listeners' participation program. We ask our listeners to avoid statements or comments which are abusive, derogatory, malicious, or defamatory. Do not use any indecent language or make any statement which is false or misleading. Email talktoday@candw.ky or call 1-800-534-8255.
Courtesy of Flow,
Cayman's #1 network that connects you to your world like never before.
Let your voice be heard. Once again, here's your host, Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Good afternoon and welcome. Thank you for joining us here. If the calendar is correct, and some would say it isn't, just depending on which one you go by. You go by the ancient calendar, do you look at the agriculture calendar? Do you look at, all of the other sort of former civilizations and ancient and the like and see what they do? Well, maybe it's a religious calendar that you go by. But nonetheless, the one that we follow says that today is the 21st of February. Wow. The month is almost gone. Remember, we were to have 10 months, and as some reminded me earlier, the egos of politicians and administrators and the like bring their plane to bear on the rest of us, and so now we got 2 extra months. Hey, not bad. 949-8037, 1-800-534-8255. We have some open line until 1 o'clock. Take your calls and you can share your thoughts with us. And then at 1 o'clock-ish, we're expecting to go live to hear the Honourable Premier's speech at the Legislative Luncheon. But between now and then, let's get a chance to hear what you have to share. And what's interesting, we live in a small community. A lot of rumours and rumblings. Sometimes what they say, where there's smoke, there's fire. And over the last few days in particular, a couple of people have shared, what is your thought in relation to the Honourable Speaker's New Year's messages, or message in particular, and in his comments, and specifically relating to maybe building a 50-story building? Well, it's expected that we may hear some announcement that may even come as early as today. Maybe it might be 50, maybe it'll be 30, maybe it'll be 20, maybe it'll be 25. But not necessarily in and of itself, but the notion that as we move the country forward with respect to the increase in population, to the continued physical development, should we be considering buildings that are 20, 30, 40, 50, 100 stories high? Should we be considering a population that is 100,000 or 200,000? Now, some would say yes, but not in the next 5 years or 10 years or 50 years. Let it be as best as possible to manage growth, something that we probably been talking about for a long time. Then there are those who would quickly counter, well, the longest journey starts with a single step. So if we're going to get there, we've got to start somewhere. Now, always going to be change, and the change is going to displace some to the greater benefit of others more than, the ones to the left and to the ones to the right. But who knows? Who's managing, who's directing, who's dictating, who's benefiting? 949-8037, 949-8037, or 1-800-534-8255. You can WhatsApp 925-3261 and share your thoughts with us equally as you have a particular view. Now, what's interesting is that sat and listened, rather early this morning to 2 individuals who, because of their work schedules, were able to find some time out of their day before, as they said, they had to really get to work and beyond the clock, and they were debating, having a strong difference of opinion on the way forward relative to the country. One was sort of proposing the notion that we need to move forward much faster. We need to get with the times and recognize that we have been, whether we want to call it discriminating or whether we've been other ways sort of lagging behind, not just relative to same-sex marriages, but the notion that people, because of preferences, because of religious callings and the like, mindful not to disclose, but certainly I want to share as much as they've asked me to, that they may be inclined to want to marry one or two or three or more women. Religious practices, we know, are accepting of that, even in this day and age. And there are those who would share that even where that happens, the newer family, the newer bride and the offspring of that union may at times get more attention, gain more benefit than the ones that preceded. Now, his argument was that if we can allow an individual to marry someone the same sex, why can't we allow someone, in his case, as a man, to have more than one wife? Or if it's a woman, well, she may want to have more than one husband. The other guy countered, well, what would happen if in accepting the same-sex marriage, the individual says, well, wait a second, this person marries, this man marries one man, but maybe they would like to have, a marriage where there's, 3 or 4 men or 3 or 4 women in that marriage, just like, the heterosexual marriage of, polygamy, where the man has, 3 or 4 wives or whatever it is that is acceptable under that particular religious practice. Now, far-fetched. One fellow says, nope, it's just a natural evolution of what will come. And the other says, well, this is the reason why they need to seriously consider. Now, these are the sort of ramblings and ruminations of some of our people. And sometimes, as I said to the two gentlemen earlier, it's a bit early to be that pensive. But I'm grateful that as we look at what is unfolding globally, seeing the impact locally, understanding as to what may be coming down the pipeline or possibly could through the UK and its territories. We see some of the things in the regional media. We see things happening locally. Is it far-fetched what they're suggesting in their discussions? And the fact that they reached out and wanted to include, I felt, privileged to be able to hear sometimes, people's sort of inner thoughts, as it were. But what is your view in that perspective? And as they shared on that whole issue, they were saying, well, what about the population increase? What about the way we build our buildings and the heights and the like? Now, there is a survey plan came on, I think, where you go to look at it, and I believe it's not closed as yet, but getting close to the closing date. Are you able to contribute? After that, what about the participation? What is your view relative to the notion that as we look at revitalizing Georgetown, and by extension, perhaps the question should be asked, well, are there other districts? Are there other parts of Georgetown, the district, that needs to be addressed, like not just other districts, but Cameron and Little Cayman equally, when we're looking at our continued progress and development? The fellow asked the question, is the port an essential part of that? Some would say, well, without it, how can you revitalize the area? Some would say, well, it would be counterproductive. They revitalize Georgetown area with an increased port and an increased congestion of people and traffic and the like, would only sort of undermine whatever you were trying to do and bringing the district back to life relative to residential, commercial, retail, entertainment, and the like. Now, these are things that people are looking at, and sometimes, as one fellow shared earlier, the seemingly lack of participation and public comment by the populace, the elect, treated in particular, and as he shared, the seemingly lack of sort of engagement by the elected, the politicians. It says it's almost as if we're just out and about, moving from day to day without any major concern as to how this thing is not only going to affect us now, but how it's going to affect us, for generations to come. Not, as he shared, only because it's going to cost us a lot of money to do whatever we're going to do, and so therefore we have to pay for it, our children and grandchildren. But if we don't do it properly and as inclusively as we can, then it's going to be a cost that probably would prove to be irreversible. We still need to pay the financial outlay, but more importantly, we can't undo what we've done. Hey, 949-8037. Coming up on a quick little break. We'll take that. Make sure that we have everything in order. As we remind you, things can change, so don't hold us to the exact minute. But around about 1 o'clock or so, the expectation is that we'll join the Chamber's Legislative Luncheon live. We're expecting some speeches and discussions and comments and everything, but in particular, we'll be carrying the Honourable Premier's speech live. That's the main thing. He is the political leader of the nation, and he's making a speech. It would be good for the nation to hear, or at least have the option to hear what he says. Then you can make a comment on it. You can choose to listen. You can turn it off. But if you don't have the chance to hear it, then we haven't really done our justice, right? So, Honourable Premier will be making a speech as premiers have in the past, the political leaders, and we want to be able to do justice and show our deference as well. Pause and take a break. It'll be open line. You can call and share your thoughts with us. Stay tuned for Talk Today.
I'm Reverend John D. Jefferson on behalf of the Westland Holiness Church of West Bay, Georgetown, and Northside. We are proclaiming the good news of salvation by lifting up the banner of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ.
The 15th annual Cayman Economic Outlook returns on February 28th for another year of educating, informing, and stimulating the local community, bringing together industry thought leaders and business professionals to explore their theme, Dynamic New World, Braving the Turmoil. Speakers include economist Norina Hertz, University of Oxford professor Ian Golden, digital revolution journalist Andreas Ekstrom, biotechnology futurist Jamie Metzel, and professional surfer Mark Matthews. Tickets are selling fast. Reserve your seat at rfceo.ky.
Miami is so much more than just a shopping destination. Foodies, friends, and family are flocking to Miami for a variety of vacation experiences. From theater shows and concerts, theme parks and sports, to museums, fine dining, festivals, culture, spa, and more. And with regular Miami airfares now from just $182 CI round trip, including taxes, now is the time to plan your unique Miami getaway. For details and to book, call 949-2311 or visit CaymanAirways.com.
Give yourself great hair with a Wash, Blow and Go hair service special for $39.99 from Beyond Basics. Finish your polished look with facial hair threading services. $5.99 for lip or chin, $9.99 for brows, or $24.99 for full face threading. Only at Beyond Basics this February. Call 916-SKIN to book your appointment today.
A caring and community spirit, cherished family and cultural values. These are some of the things that still embodies the Caymanian way of life in the Eastern Districts today. Savannah Pharmacy, your neighborhood pharmacy, located in Countryside Shopping Village, is delighted to offer products and services of real value. Whether it's catering to your family's medical needs or carrying apparel, gifts, and beauty products, Savannah Pharmacy provides you with more than just prescriptions. Remember, they're always just around the corner with everything your family needs and convenient opening hours, including Sundays and holidays. Savannah Pharmacy. For more information, call 946-3336.
Miami is so much more than just a shopping destination. Foodies, friends, and family are flocking to Miami for a variety of vacation experiences. From theater shows and concerts, theme parks and sports, to museums, fine dining, festivals, culture, spa, and more. And with regular Miami airfares now from just $182 CI round trip, including taxes, now is the time to plan your unique Miami getaway. For details and to book, call 949-2311 or visit CaymanAirways.com.
Quincy, where you is? I can't see you these days.
Darling, as our Jamaican friends say, I gone off foreign.
Well, I hope you coming back for Red Sky at night. You never miss that, and you better not start now.
No, girl. I'll make sure I'm there. When is this again?
Saturday, March 2nd, Parkwell Theatre Grounds from 4 p.m. to midnight. Seem delicious Cayman cooked food, all the dance, storytelling, dramatic and musical performances, and of course, all the local artisans selling their beautiful art, crafts, jewelry, clothes, and accessories. There's even a new development, the Caymanian Village.
Okay, well, I'll meet you at the entrance at 4 o'clock.
Don't forget your $15 to get in now.
Tickets for Red Sky at Night are $15 for adults, $5 for children 12 and under, $10 for seniors 65 and over, and students ages 13 to 17. Get yours today through Event Pro or one of our many outlets across the island.
Minimize age spots, dull skin, and acne, and erase fine lines and deep wrinkles with a combination of a microdermabrasion facial and laser skin tightening treatment, followed by a glow mask and face massage for only $250, a savings of $200. That's 4 treatments for the price of 1. Only at Beyond Basics this February. Call 916-SKIN to book your appointment today.
We invite you to listen in on Friday, February the 22nd at 12:15 p.m. for the next CI Retro Talk Today presentation in the Celebrate Cayman series, when we'll give you a bird's eye view, word picture of our Cayman Islands' vast maritime heritage, or maritime, which underpinned the firm foundation on which the modern Cayman Islands has been built and still continues to do so. CI Retro Talk Today is being brought to you by these fine sponsors: the Ministry of Culture, Health Service Station in West Bay, the Maritime Authority of the Cayman Islands, and by Arch and Godfrey Cayman Limited. That's CI Retro Talk Today, Friday, February the 22nd at 12:15 on Radio Cayman. CI Retro Talk Today is also being brought to you by Thompson Shipping. You can call them at 949-8044 for all of your shipping needs.
Hi, I'm Dawn McLean Brady, President of the Cayman Islands Small Business Association, better known as CISPA. Small businesses drive Cayman's economy. As small business owners, we depend on government to create an environment where we, as entrepreneurs, can do what we do best, and that's to provide products and services that are valuable to our customers and, in turn, employ others. The cruise piers and cargo ports provide these opportunities. Encourage our government to build a port and let the Caymanian entrepreneurial spirit shine. Support the port, support our tourism.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners' participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon. Welcome back to Talk Today. It's open line 949-8037. We're toll free with the compliments of Flo at 1-800-534-8255. Invite you to share with us and certainly stay tuned because we are expecting to go live to the Legislative Luncheon and take the Honourable Premier's speech live. There'll be some other comments there, but that's the speech we're looking at. The Chamber CEO or the Chamber President equally will hear some things. But Honourable Premier as well. Now, some of you probably have already seen it. Thank you, the many of you who've sent it across to me as well. Coming out of our Bermuda, and as part of the publication through the Bermuda Broadcasting Company. It's reporting that the UK Foreign Affairs Committee has proposed changes for the British overseas territories, including allowing British nationals who are permanently resident in the territory to have the right to vote and run for the local office. Now, you recall that a couple of years ago, we were saying that is something that may come down the pipeline. It didn't happen the next day or the next week, but nonetheless, we're seeing it now. Some of you would say, well, long overdue. This is part of the discussion I was referencing earlier with the gentleman who was saying that we need to modernize, we need to get with the times. We got people who are here and they have not only a desire to contribute, but they have much that they can contribute. The other guy sort of taking a counter point, agreed, but said, unfortunately, when we were granting permanent residency, whether to right to work or the like, we weren't more, and he used the word specifically, more discerning. You want to say more discriminating, more particular in a selection process. And as he shared, he gave us an example. You have allegations, and some would probably say, well, it's not an allegation, it's actually an accepted fact. Someone gets PR, year in, year out, does not pay, cannot afford to pay the fee. Then there are others who have PR and no longer have the means to be able to work and support, but with the permanent residency can come to government through its social programs, whether it's NAU or what we call social services, long ago, and are getting assistance. Should that be something that is right? Should it be allowed? Now, you may say yes. Some of you may say, well, no, not in all circumstances. What about this? As the fellow was sharing, that is probably one of the challenges that we fail to properly consider as we were looking at building a nation. It isn't, he's countered, that we're trying to have all professionals, all lawyers or doctors or teachers or engineers or plumbers or electricians. But as we mix the society, we're looking at people who can not only contribute, but when that time comes that we need to show them our appreciation for their contribution, that contribution prior would have allowed us to build a healthy economy, financially, socially, and the like, as opposed to knowing that someone has, as his argument and example was, been given permanent residency, did not pay the applicable fee year in and year out, but still remain on Ireland and enjoy the benefits. His question, is that right? Or, when a person in that circumstance, in very short order, can come to the different government agencies, hands out and say, okay, I now, whether with permanent residency or whether as a citizen, you need to take care of me. Is that, as he questioned, something that we properly considered? And more importantly, as the question was asked earlier, is it too late now to revisit that? So what are your thoughts on this whole issue? As we've seen coming out of Bermuda, that the Foreign Affairs Committee, now that's not the FCO, right, which is the Foreign and Commonwealth Office, completely different, right? So the Foreign Affairs Committee has proposed changes that, in the British Overseas Territories, some of these changes include, allowing British nationals who are permanently resident in the territory to have the right to not only vote, but also run for, as they call it, local office. Now, for us, and I say this with the greatest respect to all who have been elected, all who are currently elected, and all who, may consider even offering themselves or having what I believe is a great honor and privilege to serve the nation in civil time in this high office of being elected. We've made changes, and the latest change has been seeking a proposal to change the name from Legislative Assembly to Parliament. That may seem very, very simple and nothing significant, innocuous, some would say. Is it? It may be. It may be not. But is it a name that internationally people see it and without knowing much? And we accuse many, especially in the Western world, of not being that up to speed with constitution and political ramifications and the like. So they hear that you're the premier, or you're a member of cabinet, or you're a member of parliament. They may assume, well, that's an independent, somewhat autonomous nation. Now, in and of itself, that may not seem anything significant. That may in fact be where we should be heading, should be perhaps what we're desiring. But if it is, should we be forthright and say, let's do it? I say this with great respect to all. The fellow this morning shared, one of the two gentlemen shared, that even though he is not necessarily a great admirer of, say, the opposition in general, he's more sort of pro-government's position. He said he commends the Honourable Opposition Leader, Mr. Miller, for saying, listen, if we're going to go independent, let's set a date, not tomorrow, but 50 years from now, And he says, what he likes about that is that you're putting forward a position, and the fact that he's saying it sufficiently long enough down the road, it should take away any of the personalities that all those who are in office now would not necessarily, or could not necessarily be accused of saying, well, you'll be the next leader of this independent nation, and given the time for the country to sufficiently gear up, as it were, to being an independent nation or being, more autonomous. Now, is that something that we should be considering? And if not, will it be, as many of you have shared publicly as well, that we will end up down a path that we don't know until we get there, that it'll be on a timeline that we're ill-prepared and we haven't planned, and all of a sudden we know, well, this is what's happening today, as opposed to taking active steps, whatever that is, whether it's more autonomy and independence, whether it's starting this or doing that, as opposed to just, clasping our hands and, leaving it to the UK politicians through its, Parliament to send us orders in council as to what we should do or should stop doing and the like. Now, for some, we like that. We like being told what to do. Others, we like to believe that we're, at the helm of our own canoe. All right, turn the tiller yourself. We're going to pause and take a short break. Remind you that we would like you to stay tuned. Share your thoughts with us as you choose, but certainly as we carry the Honourable Premier's speech live at the Legislative Luncheon, we want you to be informed and have the chance to hear it as the Premier shares. So please, stay tuned for Talk Today.
Accommodate small or large living spaces with reversible sectional sofas. Now on sale in a variety of colours for $750 from Tomlinson Furniture. New arrivals every week. Tomlinson Furniture, corner of Hospital and Smith Road.
Our children, they are the future of our country. So often, being a parent means making the tough decision now so that they can flourish and prosper.
The American Boarding School Fair will be visiting Cayman on Tuesday, February 26th at the National Gallery. With Cayman's growing and diverse global economy, this is the perfect opportunity to learn about the educational options available to Caymanian students firsthand from visiting delegates.
There is no charge to attend. You have nothing to lose and potentially everything to gain. With specialized programs and a focus on individuals with learning differences, these leading institutions provide a well-rounded education and international experience.
Yes, the boarding school fair is free to attend for all parents and students at the National Gallery on February 26th from 5 to 7 p.m. For more information, visit the admissions page at www.gow.org or call 1-716-652-3450. That's 1-716-652-3450.
Listen in on Friday at 12:15 p.m. for the next CI Retro Talk Today presentation in the Celebrate Cayman series, when we'll focus in on our Cayman Islands maritime. Brought to you by Hell Service Station, Hell Road in West Bay. Family owned and operated for over 45 years. Now that calls for a celebration. Hell Service Station, where you're more than a customer, you're part of the family. Visit Hell Service Station for all of your car care products.
Can you imagine where Cayman runs off renewable energy? We can. Learn how you can join government and be an energy advocate.
Visit the Ministry of Commerce, Planning and Infrastructure's Facebook page to learn more.
From happy beginnings to happy ever after,
BritK protects your lifestyle with the best insurance cover at the best possible price.
Health insurance with far-reaching benefits.
95% of claims settled in 5 days.
Low-cost life insurance.
And investments.
Security in retirement.
With a custodian pension plan.
For happy beginnings and a happy ever after,
visit BritK.ky or call 949-8699.
BritK, where people come first.
One TradeX knows there's more than one way to invest. One TradeX is the Cayman Islands' only fully licensed online broker-dealer, offering discount trading services to individual investors and traders, hedge fund managers, and family offices. One TradeX has the most competitive online trading prices of any offshore broker worldwide, with no custody or management fees, free demonstration accounts, and no charge to open an account with a $5,000 minimum deposit. Trade stocks, options, futures, bonds, and Forex. Learn more and open your free demo account today at OneTradeX.com. One TradeX, the Cayman Islands' #1 choice for online brokerage. One TradeX is licensed to conduct securities investment business by the Cayman Islands Monetary Authority.
Get your car washed with Diamond Auto Care. $20 car wash special. $30 for SUVs, interior and exterior. Call 928-7336. Diamond Auto Care will leave your car with a sparkle and shine. Only $20. Call 928-7336.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon. Welcome back to Talk Today. 949-8037 or 1-800-534-8255. You can WhatsApp 925-3261 and share your thoughts with us. And I'm glad that, during the break, a number of you sort of said, yeah, I saw this, but didn't look at it. Someone said, I saw it, looked at it, didn't pay any attention. It's in reference to, the UK sort of Foreign Affairs Committee saying, hey, maybe it's time to make some of those changes that we've been talking about and allowing those individuals who are legally resident, the British nationals who are legally resident in the overseas territories, to be able to vote and hold elected office in that territory. And when we think of the whole idea, it's for some, obviously, it's part and parcel of having a just and fair society. And for others, the questions may be that you're being forced to do something that you're ill-prepared socially and politically at the time. Some may question. Now, one quick comment as I looked at, as a fellow shared, is saying, this would perhaps more legitimize the process, and that many of these individuals are people who already, called, as he puts it in brackets, call the shots. They fund and finance the campaigns. They're the people that the government, presumably means the elected, sort of go to for advice and guidance. References the last election and some of the comments that were shared publicly that would indicate that many of the individuals, whether they are eligible to vote or are registered to vote or in fact able to stand for election, they seem to be the ones the public believes are behind the strings, the sort of dictate and direct where the government goes, where its priorities and policies may lay. Now, one other individual shared a comment, why leave it only to British nationals? As wide as that category may be, why not others who have been here? And if they're legally resident, got permanent residency, they have been here for a while, could we not make the amendment and include more people? Your thoughts? 949-8037, 1-800-534-8255. Going to try your phones, Miss Susan? Let's see what happens. Good afternoon and welcome. You're on Talk Today.
Hello, good afternoon, Sterling.
Good afternoon. How are you today, man?
Yeah, good. Can't complain. Sterling, give me 4 minutes, right?
Go right ahead, man. Go right ahead.
Right. In these times, in this era, we got facing music, right? The reality check now, right?
Uh-huh.
You see, 4 hours ago in the UK, right?
Mm-hmm.
Chamber Legislative Luncheon, right? Several MPs, they resigned from the party, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right? And the press over there, they syndicate oppression.
Mm-hmm.
That's why they left. That's how they operate now.
Right. Right.
And yes, they 3 tours left. Yeah, not a party. So the whole point to make now, in these times came on, now we got your patronage, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right? This is the outcome, right? Because we operate in a condensed manner, right? But you get radical at times, if necessary, right? And like I say again, the independence, we need interest on it, prepare for it. We can prepare for hurricane the 1st of June, the end of November. We prepare for that.
Right.
Wherever the impact is, we prepare for it. Or wherever the water surge, wherever. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
The difficulties with it, or task with it, or the same scenario. And the same-sex union thing now, right? It's going through adjudicating matter in courts, right? And the whole controversy about it, you don't hear them in Northern Ireland with that now. Thus, UK dependencies around the islands, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, because they probably be vulnerable over. But you know, they're afraid to force that on Northern Ireland to the backstop and custom union, the whole controversy up there. You see it, right? It's where it comes from. And the alimony and the monies they got spent for that divorce, March 29th, right? Controversy again, chaos. And she went to Brussels to compromise her position. Right? She's swinging for the right wing, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And she's very optimistic for the way she operates, right? And okay, man, now, let me tell you something. Let's spell a coffee. Like I said again, this is a marijuana thing. People hiding information and this is a taboo thing. Listen to me, legalize that to the fullest. Right? Like say for instance, October 17th, my birthday gone in Canada, the Federal Reserve, that paid off. They debt paid off in a heartbeat now. If that legalized here, they get free medical, infrastructure, whatever future deficit. I alleviated it. You feel me? See me? So I hope the politicians in the future or present wake up, smell the coffee. Right? Like yesterday, you know, I don't say subject in a moment. Yesterday, Vladimir Putin hold a meeting. He warned the people around NATO nations, don't be that normal, because he's developing hardcore arsenals. So you don't know what time it is, right? He flew one plane last month by Cuba. So you know what time it is, right? We will for our interest. And listen, the UK tell us right now, leave the financial world alone, the financial world alone, go back to the island thing. So we all do, legalize marijuana, big up ourselves, and counteract it. That's not the only option right now, right? And if you're starting, it's in the US, right?
Right.
The heroin for the Italians, though. You understand? That comes in the CIA behind it too. So you got to know the history. It comes in drug and war and stuff like that. You got to know what time it is. Okay? So, like I said, the Brexit thing, it's a difficult task. It's a conundrum. Believe you me. So I have to know how the paddle waters up there across the pond. But they force that down our throat. But they don't force that down Northern Ireland. That's cool, man. Sorry, more time.
More time, man. It's just, and thanks for sharing it as a caller. And I was looking at a comment that's coming through, and it's saying, you know, when we look at some of these issues, why is it that, you know, one hand, Cayman seems to be either used as a guinea pig and another used as a sort of I guess this is meat and stick. Looks like it's not very clear, and that's most of my phone is garbled. But I interpret it to mean that we're not always positioned well internationally, and maybe the UK and its desire to move things forward, probably not always looking out for the interests of its overseas territories. So, are we behind the times? Are these things moot and should have been dealt with long ago? Is it, as some have shared, it's just a matter that we keep kicking the can down the road, and our unwillingness, lack of leadership to address these issues, whether it's same-sex, whether it's having, you know, voter participation at the level that would be indicative of the society's presence. You live and work here. You've been here for a length of time. You've on a path to citizenship. Should we make that easier so that we can have greater participation? And as the caller was sharing with respect to, you know, legalizing cannabis and the like, do we see the medicinal benefits? Do we see the social costs that perhaps are being incurred as a result of the current policies? Are there things that we can do to ensure that we don't have, you know, a destructive element in our society, but that what we're doing isn't counterproductive as well? Now, some have shared, just like other drugs, whether it's alcohol or tobacco, that we've legalized, we need to make sure that we have proper education, we have people sufficiently informed to make conscious decisions. And if we can provide something that is safer, as opposed to the fears that we have now, when people are smoking the marijuana and the like, cut with formaldehyde and other chemicals, that we're making it increasingly difficult for some. 8949-8037, 1-800-534-8255. Or you can call us, or you can WhatsApp 925-3261. As we share with you, the Honourable Premier will be making an address at the Legislative Luncheon, and we want to be able to take that live so that our listeners can be informed as the Honourable Premier shares his sentiments. Through this medium here, we allow the nation, if it's the desire, to be able to at least hear what is being shared. Until that transpires, we'll take your calls and have you share with us your thoughts. 949-8037, 1-800-534-8255. Or you can always email talktoday@candw.ky. And if you prefer, well, you can call 949-8037 if our toll-free number is not accessible to you. We'll pause shortly, take our news headlines at 1, and as soon as the Honourable Premier is ready to deliver his address, we will indeed take that live. So we have everything queued and standing by, just a matter of getting things set and ready for you when that unfolds, so we can carry it live. And as they say, you don't miss a word. You can hear everything that Honourable Premier has to share. 949-8037 in the meantime, or 1-800-534-8255. We'll pick up our news break very shortly. When we come back, more Talk Today.
Stay tuned. Don't forget to tune in Monday through Friday for Radio Cayman's local evening sports report during the 6 p.m. news hour.
Taking a look at Radio Cayman's local sports, I'm Dion Anglin.
It is proudly brought to you by King Sports Centre, providing your fitness, recreation, and relaxation needs.
Headlines.
With the latest headlines.
All
the news when you want it. Tune in to Radio Cayman for hourly headlines of the day's top stories.
One of Cayman's bright and shining young stars.
Local, regional, international.
Headlines.
Turning to international news. Updates on the hour between 7 a.m. and 6 p.m. on weekdays. Radio Cayman News.
Headlines.
Your voice, your choice for today's biggest news.
Give yourself great hair with a Wash, Blow and Go hair service special for $39.99 from Beyond Basics. Finish your polished look with facial hair threading services. $5.99 for lip or chin, $9.99 for brows, or $24.99 for full face threading. Only at Beyond Basics this February. Call 916-SKIN to book your appointment today.
Satisfaction is guaranteed 24 hours a day, whether it's music or information.
From Grand Cayman to Cayman Brac to Little Cayman, we've got you covered.
You ever hear a thing like that?
Radio Cayman in the Cayman Islands.
Radio Cayman. From Radio Cayman's newsroom. These are the biggest stories right now.
The call is out for companies who can provide builders work at Boddentown Civic Center. Government has put out a request for quotation for services such as construction and maintenance of facilities, roads and infrastructure, as well as trade work such as general contractors, electricians, and plumbers. Interested companies have until March 11th. In news elsewhere, two officials say they are trying to verify reports that Fabian Klein, a Frenchman who is one of Europe's most wanted members of Islamic State group, has died in an airstrike in Syria. A French diplomatic official and an official with U.S.-backed Syrian forces say verifications are underway amid a standoff over the final sliver of land held by IS in southeastern Syria, close to the Iraq border. Klein is considered a key figure in the 2015 attacks in Paris, and it was his voice that claimed responsibility in the name of Islamic State for the deadly onslaught in his home country. Empire actor Jussie Smollett staged a racist and homophobic attack because he was unhappy about his salary and wanted to promote his career, Chicago's police superintendent said Thursday. Before the attack, Smollett also sent a threatening letter that targeted himself to the studio in Chicago where Empire is shot, Superintendent Eddie Johnson said. Smollett turned himself in and was arrested earlier Thursday to face accusations that he filed a false police report when he told authorities he was attacked in Chicago by two men who hurled racist and anti-gay slurs and looped a rope around his neck, police said. Those are your latest updates here on Radio Cayman. I'm Shanda Gallego.
Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands.
What's happening in your community? News and information, music and more. You can find us. www.radiocayman.gov.ky. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter. Radio Cayman is your choice, your voice for today's biggest news. Radio Cayman.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon. Welcome back to Talk Today. 949-8037. 1-800-534-8255. And as we shared with you, as these things go, they're always in a great attempt to keep things on schedule. But with luncheons, sometimes it takes a little while. I mean, people like to rush their food. Sometimes we know the Honorable Premier will be making a speech, and as he shared, I'll include a number of things, including, the successful state of the economy. As we heard yesterday from the Honourable Finance Minister, the economy is doing well, so the Premier will probably speak to that some more. The Premier has also shared that he'll be making a major announcement regarding the port as well. Now, other things we understand may have been shared or may be shared later on. Now, it's good to know if you can before, and even when you can't, at least to find out not too long after. So this way, we get a chance for you to hear it as it's being said and shared. When Honourable Premier gets the opportunity to share his speech on the agenda, we will carry that live as well. But in the meantime, 949-8037, 1-800-534-8255, or you can WhatsApp 925-3261. And if you want to share your thoughts in another vein, well, if you have access to that, go right ahead. Happy to share that if that's your choice. 949-8037, 1-800-534-8255, or 949-8037. I will take your calls and have you, share with us, and then indirectly through this platform with those that are listening. Let's go to our phones. Welcome. You're on Talk Today.
Hello, Dwayne. Is that me?
It is you, sir. Thank you for calling. Okay. How are you today?
Yeah, I don't know what happened with your phone.
Not sure why. Sometimes, seems to be little gremlins running about in the system. So,
anyway, I hear you talking about something that's very interesting there, that you're talking about getting next class and the people that coming in here and get status and stuff like that, being able to vote.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a design to, because we're being outnumbered by, I don't know what it is, 3-1 right now, in my opinion. And what is happening here in Cayman, because remember now, I'm talking about Caymanians being outnumbered, not those with status and all that. We're not talking about them, you see. But Caymanians are outnumbered. And the thing that bothers me more than anything else, and I think I said that to you the other day. I quote this from the Bible where it says that the love of money is the root of all kinds of evil. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
And what has happened to us, we've become obsessed with money in this island. I'm talking with government and everybody down the line. So a few of us don't do that. At least I don't.
Hello, caller? Oh. Hello, caller? Okay, seemed that... Interesting. Our apologies to that caller. Whatever transpired then was not intentional. Hopefully we can figure it out. Now, there's some other callers as we await the opportunity to broadcast their Honourable Premier's speech live. Is there another caller waiting in the wings, Miss Susan? All right. Hey, good afternoon. Again, apologies to that former caller. Good afternoon. Hello, good afternoon.
Hi. Can you hear me?
I believe so. Yes.
Yes, Sterling, how are you?
Very thankful. How about yourself? And I just want to say again, I'm sorry for that call or whatever happened then, but glad that you can join us.
Yeah, for the last 25 minutes. Sterling, I know I shouldn't talk about this, but I know a lot of people feel what interest it is to me, but it has a lot to do with my own people of this island. Sterling, in yesterday's paper, they had in the papers that Kaboo performer in court for ganja. You hear me?
Courts in ganja. Mm-hmm.
She was in court, yeah. One of the performers from Kaboo was in court. And they slapped her with $300 and no conviction. Her records are clean.
Huh.
Her records are clean. She wants to be able to come back to the Cayman Islands. And she didn't know the stuff was in her bag. And it went on and went on. But Sterling, all I got to say about this, I don't care who want to come in and perform, but we got our rules and regulations, and they should all be abided by. I don't care about you forgetting you had a gun in your bag that you packed to come to the Caymans, or you forgot you had ganja in your bag and you came to the Caymans with it. That's a very poor leading excuse. Because I know that we people, when we travel, we search our suitcases, see what's in there and what's not in there, especially we need more space to park. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
So I never settle for no excuse. That is, she does want her record messed up. She want to come back to the Cayman Island, and she just got away like a fat rat. Sterling, we got Caymanians here in Northwood that can come out here and be good to society for a split of ganja or probably some altercation of a fight or something in that category. And Sterling, when you go get your traffic record, let me tell you what happened to me. When the first remodel down there by the public beach, I didn't even know you couldn't even turn right. And I went and I made a right turn, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where the police came up from, I didn't even know. So I had to pay $100. And I didn't even know until just a couple of weeks ago when I went and got my traffic record that they had me down there for making a right turn when I wasn't supposed to do it. And they holding me 5 years for that, Sterling.
So this is just make sure when you come to the public beach.
Don't turn right.
Yeah,
you
so
keep going left.
yeah, on that corner there, that.
When you come on the public beach itself, that you want to you can only go right. But if you want to go, you can only go left. If you want to go right now, you got to go into one circle across the street and then turn around and go back as you're coming down out to come to Georgetown. Sterling, another guy, when he went to get his traffic record, you know what I had on it? Tint. 5 years, Sterling. We the people of this island that puts our government in every 4 years. This is what they are doing to us that got to live here, and they got to come and ask us for us to vote for them, and they're going to make someone come in here and leave our country with a bag of money, and we that live here got something hanging over for 5 years. Can you just imagine, Sterling? It's not what you do, it's how you do it and who you're looking at. When you're going to keep someone's record clean, but you're going to make the Cayman record stand for 5 years or longer, or whatever the case may be. We that live here got to punish for the rest of the world. I don't know what this Kaboo contribute to the Cayman Islands when it came to anything. Non-profit organizations or schools or hospitals, or what did they contribute to Cayman? A lot of Caymaners, more power to them. I have nothing against anybody going to it. But you don't come in here because you can use drugs in California and you forget that you have it in your bag. Let me tell you something. If she had not got caught, she would have blown that up on us at Mile Beach and laughed at us. But she got caught. But she may as well not have got caught because she never paid nothing. She should have been in jail right here in the Cayman Islands with the rest of my Caymanian people. We got our handsome-looking guys out here cleaning us free from the prison. I don't know if they'll ever come back into society. But she can travel the world, Sterling, and laugh at Cayman. But she want to come back to Cayman? No, Sterling. We got people who want to tax the license of born Caymanians, and they can't get into the line because they may have a little conviction on their traffic record.
Respectful one, I want you to pick that up later, but we have the Honorable Premier now just about to go on. So thank you for sharing. As we go.
You're welcome.
Thanks. Honorable Premier is making his speech at the Legislative Luncheon. And we're about to hear that.
Of which he is a founding member. He was subsequently sworn in as Leader of the Opposition Legislative Assembly in the Cayman Islands. He was named Premier following the general elections of the Cayman Islands in May 2013, where the Progressives won the majority of seats. He served as Minister for Home Affairs, Health and Culture from 2013 to 2017. He is the first Premier to serve consecutive terms in the Cayman Islands, with his re-election in May 2017. He also serves as Minister for Human Resources, Immigration and Community Affairs. We're honored to welcome the Honorable Premier, Alden McLaughlin.
Good afternoon, everyone. I too will dispense with protocol. Chris, I don't know what to say actually, because there have been many times when I've come to address the Chamber of Commerce annual luncheon when I've had to put on my gospel armor before I got here. Sometimes I felt I needed a bulletproof vest. But your speech tended to indicate that, generally speaking, what we are doing has the Chamber's endorsement, and for that I am very thankful. Thank you and your team for inviting us again, and especially for allowing me to address this August Assembly. Last year I highlighted the improving relationship between government and the business community, and the importance of continuing to develop that relationship. That spirit of partnership has continued to grow, and there are many examples of how our joint leadership has served to advance the interests of these islands. I will highlight these as I speak, but I thank past President Paul Biles, the Chamber Council, member businesses, and Will and his team for their important contributions. The coming year will be very good for our islands. The royal visit of Prince Charles and the Duchess of Cornwall in March will certainly be a highlight in a year that I expect will have many such, but none more important. And so government intends to make the 28th of March 2018, Thursday, a public holiday in honor of this royal visit. If you were present last year, you may recall that I began with a video in which leading regional economist Marla Dukaran described the Cayman Islands as the best-run economy in the whole Caribbean. The performance of Cayman's economy over the last year consolidates our position at the top of Ms. Dukaran's league table. Government continues to run excellent surpluses, with preliminary 2018 results indicating revenues of $832.3 million, with a surplus of $178 million, some $91.4 million more than budgeted. We continue to pay down debt and to operate from cash. GDP growth was 3.7% in the first 6 months of last year, and the official forecast for the 2018 year-end is 3.4%. The economy continues to perform strongly, and as we anticipated, our economic success continues to generate jobs and opportunities for Caymanians. The 2018 Spring Labor Force Survey showed an overall increase in employment, with Caymanians in work increasing by 3.4%, while employment among non-Caymanians declined by 4.1%. Correspondingly, unemployment decreased to 3.4% from 4.1% in the same period of 2017. Unemployment was lower across all status groups, but the highest reduction was among Caymanians, which fell from 7.3% in the first half of 2017 to 5.3% in the same period in 2018. And when the fall 2018 Labor Force Survey is completed and released, it will show yet further improvement. Preliminary results indicate that in fall 2018, when compared with fall 2017, total unemployment would have dropped to 2.9% from 4.9%, and Caymanian unemployment has dropped to 4.6% from 7.3% in 2017. This is the lowest level of Caymanian unemployment in more than a decade. Last year, I appealed to businesses here to redouble efforts to employ suitably qualified and experienced Caymanians. These figures represent a significant achievement, and I am truly grateful to all contributing employers, and in particular, those of you in the Chamber of Commerce. I am far from complacent, though, and acknowledge there is much more we must do to strengthen the position of Caymanians in the job market. I will talk about the action we are taking in that regard shortly, but for now, I will simply reflect that the figures I just gave represent a significant step towards fulfillment of this government's key pledge to keep full Caymanian employment. A strong economy where every Caymanian who is willing and able to work can find a suitable job. I will take a risk now and read you a message I received just a short while ago from one of my most vocal critics on various talk shows and elsewhere. I'm not one that likes to call names, so I won't do that. But his first name begins with Stanley and ends with Hill. Good morning, Mr. Premier. One thing I can give kudos to you for, you sure fulfilled your promises of everyone having a job. Things are finally looking good for me. Thanks. Now, this is a government I can relate to. You must be taking some pages from Trump. Laugh out loud. The other key macroeconomic indicator, inflation, is one we are watching closely. The latest data for the Consumer Price Index give an annualized inflation figure of 3.5% for the third quarter of last year. While high by recent standards, the figure has dropped back from a peak of 4.8% in the previous quarter. Economists among you may point out that such is the nature of price variations over time, and that these recent figures come on the back of a period of deflation, falling prices in the Cayman Islands. And so, taking a longer-term view, prices in the Cayman economy in September 2018 were actually only 2.5% higher overall than they had been in September 2014. That represents a significant 5-year period of overall low inflation. However, we recognize that the current level of inflation can represent a squeeze on living standards and the cost of doing business. But the tools available to government to reduce inflation are limited. As an example, one of the most significant recent price increases was a jump in electricity prices. But remember, this government has maintained the significant fuel duty reductions brought in by my last administration that are still helping keep utility costs down. We also continued reductions on various import duties to licensed retailers to help lower prices. And we increased the duty-free allowance at the airport from $350 to $500 per person for goods purchased abroad. We will continue to do what we can to maintain living standards, especially for the vulnerable. Last month saw the second of our promised increases in the minimum income we guarantee to those in receipt of social assistance, retired seamen and veterans, and retired long-serving civil servants. These individuals saw their monthly receipts from government rising to $750. That increase of at least 36% since this government took office under 2 years ago is directly benefiting hundreds of Caymanians, and I should add, delivering on another of the key pledges we made to the country. Lest we forget, though, the best way to ensure a good standard of living is to ensure we deliver economic growth so our people can access well-paid jobs. Indeed, the best social program is a good job. The picture of success I am able to paint this afternoon owes much to the continued strong performance of Cayman's two-pillar industries, financial services and tourism. Cayman's financial services industry continues to thrive, even as it constantly adapts to changing global circumstances. The ability of the industry to innovate and the willingness of government to combine a business-friendly environment with appropriate but proportionate regulation will continue to maintain our competitive advantage. But we must recognize that there are major global players determined to undermine Cayman's success. Our position is straightforward. Where there are reasonable demands to raise global regulatory standards, we will comply. So long as there remains a level playing field. Our willingness to do so is evident by the economic substance legislation we passed in the Legislative Assembly just before Christmas. This is one of those areas where I must thank the representatives of more than 15 financial services and commerce associations that supported the Minister for Financial Services, her team, and the government to tailor that legislation to meet the requirements of those who set global regulation standards, as well as our own local business community. I remain confident that if the EU listing process is fair, we will not end up on any blacklist. But we take nothing for granted and continue our engagement with the EU Commission and member states. Looking ahead, the future of Cayman's financial services industry will face more challenges, not just from the EU and the OECD, but also from the FATF. I am confident that we can manage those challenges, and working together, government and the industry can keep pace with changing global standards while preserving the special characteristics of this jurisdiction that make it an attractive place to do business. Given the challenges our financial services industry is constantly facing, it is even more critical that we do all we can to secure the future of our other key economic pillar, tourism, and seek to accelerate economic diversification to reduce our reliance on both those industries. For that reason, the current controversy over the cruise piers is not something that can be seen in isolation. Cayman's tourism sector is flourishing. Last year, we received nearly 2.4 million visitors, the highest number in our history. The number of stayover visitors broke previous records, and cruise visitor numbers would have also seen a record year, but for bad weather in December that prevented 12 ships from stopping here. This success is the result of a lot of hard work. The Minister for Tourism and his team have a marketing approach that is the envy of the region. In the end, though, it is the quality of the offer that drives our success. Yes, we have many natural advantages, but it is the continual improvement in the standards of the hotels, restaurants, and associated businesses, coupled with our infrastructure as well as our people, that keeps bringing visitors to our shores. Some of our critics of the government, point to our success and ask why we need to change. Surely, if Cayman continues to attract visitors, why do we need a new port? Even our fiercest critics accept, though, that the cruise industry is changing. They accept the trend towards bigger ships, but seem to believe the changes can leave Cayman unaffected. They argue that these bigger ships will only gradually come into service and that they can continue to tender their passengers ashore in Grand Cayman. I liken this approach to that of the Kodak company, which enjoyed decades of growth and became a cultural point of reference the world over. Its Kodak moment tagline became part of everyday speech. I'm sure that company during the 1990s saying, "We are continuing to grow. Why do we need to change?" Kodak did not fail because it did not see digital photography coming. Indeed, Kodak invented the world's first digital camera in 1975. Rather, it failed to understand the profound impact that change would have on its business, not overnight, but over time. After a period of decline that lasted some 20 years, Kodak filed for bankruptcy protection in 2012. The company survives, but is unrecognizable from the 20th century giant it had been. I fear that will be the outcome for our cruise industry if we refuse to pay attention to the way the market is developing. We will go into a gradual but sure decline, and our cruise sector will eventually be diminished. This government will not allow that to happen. It was at a Chamber Luncheon in 2015 that I announced that after careful consideration, government had agreed on the merits of building a cruise port and enhanced cargo port. We not only remain committed to the cruise dock and cargo port project, but are even surer today. The new cruise dock is vital to safeguard the future of Cayman's tourism industry, whilst the new cargo facilities will receive larger cargo ships and help support the island's growing population, and by allowing greater economies of scale, help to mitigate some of the cost pressures impacting our cost of living. Whilst we are committed to delivering the port project, cruise and cargo, and to securing the growth and jobs they will bring, we are not doing so recklessly and without regard to the costs. I have previously made two promises to the country, which I will repeat here. First, we will structure the financing of the port project in such a way as to not expose the country's finances to disproportionate risk. Secondly, we will minimize or mitigate the environmental impact of the project. We have already delivered on the first of those promises. We announced last December that we have concluded agreements with Carnival and Royal Caribbean, the two largest cruise companies, on their financial commitment towards the cost of constructing the new piers. I am happy to announce today that Disney has also given its commitment towards the financing of the port project. These agreements, coupled with the finance to be provided by the preferred bidder on the project, effectively ensure that no public money will be required to build the new cruise berths and enhanced cargo facility. When I addressed you in 2015, I stated that the cruise companies must have skin in the game to ensure that we receive the necessary volume of cruise passengers over the period required for the financing to be repaid. That promise is being kept. And I want to assure the leader of the opposition that no current fees paid by the cruise companies to government will be used to repay the financing package. Having delivered on that first promise, we will now ensure that the second promise is kept as well. I have said before that I respect the views of those who argue that no economic benefit can outweigh environmental concerns. But while I respect their viewpoint, this is not a position that a responsible government can take. In my view, this comes down to a question of judgment. Do the benefits outweigh the costs? In my judgment and that of my government, $245 million of net economic benefit, hundreds of construction jobs, and then decades of increasing employment and business opportunities for Caymanians in the tourism industry definitely outweigh the inevitable environmental costs in a part of Grand Cayman's only working harbor. What we can and will do is ensure that the final design of the new piers will avoid as much environmental impact as possible. Where we cannot avoid it, we will aim to mitigate the effects. The The project is now in its 6th year, and we continue to move forward carefully and deliberately. The procurement process is winding down, and a preferred bidder will be chosen by this summer. Once this is done, we will be in a position to speak more to the final design and projected costs. So we will continue to support tourism as well as our financial services industry despite the challenges. But we will also continue to support increased diversification of our economy. I was delighted, therefore, to attend the groundbreaking ceremony on the first phase of the new campus development at Cayman Enterprise City late last year, as well as welcome the launch of the new Tech Cayman initiative. Both add further strength to this country's offer to attract knowledge-based industries and other entrepreneurs, and both have the support of government. I would add that Health City Cayman Islands continues to prove its increasing social and economic value, especially for health tourism. Recently in New York, I addressed a reinsurance roundtable event where reinsurance businesses spoke in glowing terms of the value of locating in the Cayman Islands. These are market segments that are both ripe for growth, and government will do what we can to attract and support reinsurance and health tourism companies. The brilliantly organized and hugely successful Kaboo Music Festival last weekend is also a good indication of the potential value of large-scale festivals and conferences to these islands. Our development sector continues to help power the Cayman economic engine, and the addition of new hotels to our tourism product will help stimulate as well as support more growth for years to come. There is simply no other way to put it. Cayman is doing very well. However, our future success is not guaranteed, and in an increasingly competitive global economy, this jurisdiction needs to be ready to compete in good times or in bad. That competition is not just about attracting business to Cayman. It is also about making sure that entrepreneurial Caymanians are able to take the opportunities that future growth of our economy will bring. The Minister for Commerce has been pursuing a two-pronged strategy to support small business development. In the first strategy, trade and business license requirements have been streamlined, and the whole renewal process has been moved online. Indeed, we are making good progress across a range of e-government services. The second strategy is about improving the support available to small and micro businesses. Just last week, the Minister and the Cayman Islands Small Business Association signed a memorandum of understanding aimed at delivering services including workshops, mentoring sessions, grants, and individual assistance to small business. The partnership between public and private sectors will be further enhanced through the establishment of a small business center. This government has also maintained the greatly reduced fees for small businesses put in place by the last administration, and in 2018, some 4,800 micro or small businesses benefited from these reduced fees. For Caymanians not inclined to open a business, a high-quality education is a crucial gateway to future employment. And so I'm grateful to those in this room and beyond who support the work being spearheaded by the Education Minister. Amongst other measures, the Minister and the Chairman of the Education Council, Mr. Dan Scott, recently returned from a fact-finding tour in the UK, looking at how we can learn from their experience, including through an upgraded and modernized curriculum as a key tool in helping to raise standards in Cayman's public schools. Also critical is our ongoing investment in enhancing our school infrastructure, both at primary and secondary levels. And we continue to encourage and support as best we can private schools to enhance their facilities as well. Of course, as important as curriculum and school buildings are, attracting and keeping good teachers is especially key. And so we have ensured that the remuneration of our teachers is being increased. I've spoken before about the various vocational studies initiatives, including the very successful City and Guilds Vocational Studies program run by the Public Works Department. This has grown over the past few years and today provides a variety of training courses to some 17 Caymanian apprentices. Our plans are to expand this to serve at least 50 students during this year, with training provided in a number of fields, including air conditioning, plumbing, electrical, and carpentry. The improvements in education will help future generations, but we also need to further improve the position of Caymanians in the job market now. As I indicated earlier, unemployment among Caymanians has fallen significantly, but now is the time to put in place improvements that will maintain that position as we go forward. That task will be spearheaded by the new Workforce Opportunities and Residency Cayman, or WORK, department. WORK officially went live this month, and implementation of the changes will follow in the next few months. The first of those will be the online jobs clearinghouse, due to go live around Easter, through which all jobs in the Cayman Islands will be advertised, allowing Caymanians full access to the opportunities available. Improvements that the government has promised in the work permit regime are also progressing. I wish to acknowledge the Chamber's assistance in helping develop a new, simplified, and modern work permit system. We have more to do to road test the proposed changes, and we have undertaken to work with business as we do so. As a country, we need to embrace the opportunities of growth, but it is time that we do so in a planned and measured way. For that reason, we are consulting the public on a new national planning framework for the Cayman Islands, known as Plan Cayman. This encompasses several things to which the government is already committed. For example, it recognizes the work we have been doing to modernize the country's infrastructure. The framework incorporates the much-needed revitalization of Georgetown and also reflects the ambitions in our national energy policy. It also seeks the views of the public on new ideas and approaches to how we develop and ensure our future is sustainable. I hope the framework will ignite a national debate about our future. To that end, I would like to thank the Chamber for hosting an event on the framework last December. We have extended the consultation deadline until the end of this month to give everyone as much chance as possible to contribute their ideas, and I would encourage everyone in the business community to take part. We are, of course, continuing to invest in the infrastructure this country needs for its future. We are picking up the pace on Georgetown revitalization, and I would like to say how welcome it is to see the appointment of Mr. Colin Lumsden as the country's first town manager to take that work forward. Having put in place some of the necessary infrastructure improvements, the time has now come to reimagine what our capital might be like in the future. The government wants the exercise of planning and delivering that future to be fully inclusive, to be a fully inclusive process. For that reason, we will put in place a steering committee of stakeholders to guide the project. I hope the Chamber will accept our invitation to be represented on the committee. We want the committee to involve the wider community, and so we are planning a town hall charrette to engage everyone in the future design of our capital and its town center. To those who will be involved in the work as the project progresses, I want to encourage you to be bold. This is an opportunity to think more radically about what might be possible in terms of how we utilize the space and the activities we want to see in the capital. The government has previously removed some of the restrictions that prevented sensible development. So I want the committee to explore the freedom we will give them to develop exciting plans for innovative mixed-use development in Georgetown, including considering sensible building heights as necessary to encourage investors to redevelop and breathe new life into our capital. We also continue to invest in much-needed road infrastructure. This year, we will progress the second phase of the Linford Pearson expansion project that will give 4 lanes between the Agnes Way roundabout and the Bobby Thompson Smith Road traffic lights. Nearing completion is the Connector Road, a new roundabout joining Printers Way to Crew Road in the proximity of the Mango Tree Restaurant and Bar. In the next few months, the Olympic Way Walkers Road connector will be constructed to help reduce congestion on Walker's Road and more effectively segregate school traffic. Later this year, work is due to start on the extension of Godfrey Nixon Way from the Blue Marlin restaurant on Eastern Avenue to the Fish Shack on North Church Street, creating an important link for cruise and port traffic. Looking a bit further ahead, design work is underway for the expansion of Shamrock Road and Hurley Merrin Boulevard from 4 to 6 lanes. This will ease congestion that motorists moving east or coming from the east encounter. This work will commence later this year. We're also looking at how best to move forward later this year with the much-needed continuation of the east-west arterial road through to Frankstown, with Phase 1 connecting Hirsch Road to northward. Meanwhile, work will be completed at the airport, and it will be opened at the end of next month by His Royal Highness the Prince of Wales. This will be a proud moment for all of us who call these islands home. Much has been said about the delay and added cost of the airport expansion. I will say this. When the airport expansion was designed some years back, we considered what we thought was affordable at the time. Government was unable to borrow any money in those days. As our finances improved, we looked again at what was needed to make a very good airport experience even better. And so broadly, half of the additional spend was the result of positive decisions to improve the quality of the redeveloped airport for the benefit of travelers. I and my government are satisfied that decisions taken in this regard were sensible and affordable, and I'm satisfied that the public will also agree once the expansion is complete and the airport is fully operational. As we think about the future of our islands, we must also consider Cayman's place in a changing world. To that end, I announced last year this government's intention to create a new Ministry of International Trade, Investment, Aviation, and Maritime Affairs. The new ministry has now been established with me as minister and will focus on advancing the economic and political interests of the country, the Caymanian people, and the business community, and will make it easier for potential overseas investors to do business in the Cayman Islands. This includes business that may flow to Cayman as we seek opportunities to participate in the UK's Global Britain Initiative post-Brexit. The new ministry will take direct responsibility for the Cayman Islands Government Office in London and a limited range of existing government departments and entities, including the shipping and aviation registers. Over time, the ministry will develop a select network of international offices to better achieve its stated purpose. Plans are already underway for the establishment of an Asia office in Hong Kong. I must thank those business leaders, led by past President Biles, who gave their time to the development of that business case. An office in Washington is also being considered for 2020, as is one in Brussels, if it is thought useful after the UK leaves the European Union. In setting up both a new ministry and an Asia office, the case for change is underpinned by the view that international issues will become increasingly important to the well-being of these islands. The government accepts that there are costs and indeed potential risks in this approach. However, having done the business case, we believe the benefits are significant enough to justify the investment we are making. This same analysis will be done prior to any new international offices being established. I have concentrated today on government's economic record and our view of the future of our economy. But before I sit down, there are a few other matters I thought would be helpful for Chamber members to hear about. Firstly, whilst I'm confident that our economy will remain very strong over the next 12 to 18 months, the picture is less clear after that. Indications are that growth in major economies will slow over the next year. I believe that the momentum we now have, coupled with sound finances, place us in a good position to manage any such slowdown. But the Minister for Finance and the entire government are paying close attention and bearing this in mind as we start planning for the next budget cycle. The latest constitution talks were held in London in December. Our requests have been generally well received, and I'm encouraged by the willingness of the UK to respond positively to what I believe to be a sensible and pragmatic set of proposals. Clearly, we will not get everything we want, but the negotiations are proceeding well, and I hope they will be brought to a positive conclusion in the coming months, hopefully in time for our constitutional celebrations that kick off in July, another key event in this year's calendar to celebrate Cayman. I also wish to acknowledge the Governor, Mr. Martin Roper, for working in such a spirit of partnership since his arrival, including assisting with and supporting the establishment of the new ministry. The Governor and I are also working together with the Commissioner of Police to ensure the country's safety and security, and we share an ambition to reduce crime and criminality and improve the security of our borders. This month saw the launch of the Cayman Islands Customs and Border Control Service, but already the new intelligence-led approach of the service is bearing fruit. One good example is that at the same time that we launched the Green Customs Channel at the airport and higher personal import duty limits, both customs revenues and successful interdictions by border control officers are up. Innovations will follow during this year. Just a couple of weeks ago, the Border Control Service began a procurement process to introduce new immigration and passport control kiosks, very much like the ones you will have used at various international airports. We expect a pilot utilizing 4 such kiosks to be in place by the end of this year. Also this year, we will introduce a fully online visa application process. Another important step is the creation of the new Coast Guard service. As well as being part of that border security network, the Coast Guard has other vital functions relating to safety at sea, including maritime search and rescue. The next significant development for the service will see the opening in the coming weeks of the new Operations and Rescue Coordination Center, which will play a key role in ensuring Cayman can coordinate search and rescue and other activities on a 24/7, 365-day basis. The approach the government is taking can also be seen at the community level, including the drive to reinvigorate neighborhood policing. Alongside things like the creation of a new neighborhood watch schemes, something the government has been very keen to see. This more accessible, visible, and responsive policing is having a direct and positive impact on the lives of Caymanians, visitors, and businesses. Delivering that kind of direct impact on the lives of Caymanians is central to what this government has set out to do. And it is not just in the area of crime reduction that our success is being felt. We have responded to concerns that Caymanians are being priced out of the housing market by pushing forward the National Housing Development Trust Affordable Housing Program. Last month, ground was broken on a scheme in East End that followed the successful completion of 16 new homes in Bordentown last year. As the 6 East End homes are finished, work will begin on 8 more homes in West Bay. The Trust is also buying 10 acres on which to build in Northside and recently bought a 24-acre plot of land in Georgetown. I thank the Trust and the Minister for Housing for their tireless efforts. The government has also significantly increased the stamp duty thresholds for first-time Caymanian home buyers, allowing greater numbers of Caymanians to purchase first-time properties without having to pay stamp duty or to pay it at discounted rates. This represents a welcome leg up onto the property ladder for many young Caymanians and their families. Elsewhere, the government has continued its work to create a healthier environment and to preserve more public land, particularly beaches, for the enjoyment of our people and visitors. We have procured 634 acres of protected land, increasing the total amount to 4,111 acres, about 6.3% of Cayman's total land mass. This year, we will continue the policy of acquiring land for public use, including beach land and land for parks. The East End Housing Scheme will also create a new recreation park in the district. We have purchased the property used by the Scranton community for many years as a park. This purchase safeguards public asset access to that important community space in perpetuity. Government is working directly with the central Scranton community on plans to improve the property. Land has also been acquired to create a park that will serve the Red Bay and Prospect constituencies. Those communities will also help guide the development and public use of that park. Work will commence this year on the Smith-Barcadere addition once planning and design are completed. And the South Sound Boardwalk has been completed and provides a safe walking zone as well as preserves beautiful vistas of the sea for the enjoyment of all. Work continues on the integrated solid waste management project, and after more than 5 years of work and negotiations, we are nearing agreement with the preferred bidder, DECO. The project addresses the solid waste management needs for these islands for the next 25 years. This is a design, build, finance, and operate public-private partnership that will not require any capital investment by the government. This is a key deliverable of my government, and we are very pleased to have made it to this juncture. Much is being achieved by this government, and it is all being done in a fiscally responsible way. We continue to operate with surpluses even higher than those that we budgeted to achieve. Our capital investments are being paid for from cash without increased borrowing, and we continue to repay government debt. We have not increased fees or taxes since I was sworn in as Premier in May of 2013. This government's track record of delivery and sound stewardship of the finances is the result of the very hard work done by my ministers and councillors, as well as the long-suffering civil service. I thank them for the support they give me and for the work they do every day for the people we serve. I want to pay a special tribute to the Deputy Governor and the Attorney General and the Cabinet Secretary for the incredible work and the support that we receive on a weekly basis. Ours is indeed a unity government, one where we may take different views, but where we are all willing to work together towards our shared ambitions for these Cayman Islands. I also have to pay tribute to the Speaker, the Honourable McKeeva Bush, for his continued support of the coalition government. We have achieved much together, but our ambitions are not yet fulfilled. We have a lot left to achieve and just over 2 years in which to do it. But with the same determination and pragmatism demonstrated in our first 2 years, I have no doubt we will achieve what we set out to do. The best for Cayman is yet to come. I thought I'd gotten away with that.
Sending his speech over at the Chamber Legislative Luncheon, and I believe, as he shared, some announcements were made. We will have open line for the remainder of the program, and certainly appreciate the opportunity for the nation to be tuned in and listen attentively to when the political leadership makes a presentation. Some obviously say, well, why only to the business community? Well, they're a big lobby group. Have other organizations, organize similar events and invited the political leadership. When they do, I know the leadership responds. So whether there's educators or whether there are, ministers of religion, but perhaps it's indicative of the need to have, civil organizations properly, coming together and being able to help to not just influence the agenda, but perhaps to set it, perhaps to be able to organize themselves in a way that they can, as they say, bend the ear of the political directorate. It will be open line, 949-8037, 1-800-534-8255. You can share your thoughts with us as we invite you to be a part of it. Was there anything, groundbreaking and earth-shattering? Did you learn anything that you thought, oh, well, that was surprising? Or was it, a part of the course as we move forward? In it, as you dissect and analyze what was shared, will there be things that you go, oh, I didn't quite get that? Maybe I'm reading between the lines a little bit more, and now I need to look more closely. Hey, if we're going to have and continue to have not just a responsible but a responsive government, one that's committed to openness and transparency, then we're honored to be able to have these opportunities and say what you will. The Honourable Premier is not only very intelligent but an eloquent speaker, and as he shares, it's good that we have leadership that people can look at and say, okay, we need to continue to aspire. 949-8037, 1-800-534-8255. Or you can always WhatsApp 925-3261. Like nearing our 2 p.m. headline news, we will take that as usual. And when we come back for the remainder of the program, we will have open line. And you can call and share your thoughts with us. I must share. I will listen. Did I hear it closely? Well, I must share. I like to go back and when the speech is sent out in its printed version, have a look through. Comments in relation to education will be the things that may jump out at some of us. It may be the issues of development. Some may say, well, what does this mean now? Are we looking for increased development, not just because of the employment opportunities, and will they be just short-term in relation to the jobs during that phase of construction, whether it's for a year or 10? What after that? How sustainable? And as the Honourable Premier mentioned, the whole idea of having the charrettes under the leadership of the Georgetown town manager, Mr. Lumsden, and many know, he's a trained architect, and they go about the country and solicit views about what should we be looking at further afield for planning. What are we looking for directly within the Georgetown revitalization? What can and should we be doing for the other districts and for the entire country, including Cayman Brac and Little Cayman equally? 8949-8037, 1-800-534-8255. We'll pause and take a break shortly and go to our headline news at 2. When we come back, we'll continue with some open line and have you share with us and enjoy the banter, benefit from your input, and hopefully instill within us a need to be able to constantly voice our concerns and comments publicly. So please stay tuned for Talk Today.
Don't sleep on these savings at Tomlinson Furniture with King Silly mattresses for $475 and futons for $499 till supplies last. New arrivals every week. Tomlinson Furniture, corner of Hospital and Smith Road.
Satisfaction is guaranteed 24 hours a day, whether it's music or information.
From Grand Cayman to Cayman Brac to Little Cayman, we've got you covered.
You ever hear a thing like that?
Radio Cayman in the Cayman Islands.
Radio Cayman.
Radio Cayman's newsroom. These are the biggest stories right now.
The House of Commons Foreign Affairs Committee issues a report on the relationship between Global Britain and the British Overseas Territories, calling for OTs to implement same-sex marriage and allow permanently resident British Overseas Territories or UK citizens the right to vote or hold elected office. In news elsewhere, a Colombian cardinal has warned fellow Roman Catholic bishops at a Vatican summit they could be imprisoned for covering up crimes if they don't properly deal with clergy sex abuse cases. At a remarkable speech at the Abuse Prevention Summit, Cardinal Ruben Gomez on Thursday also denounced how bishops tend to believe priests over people reporting abuse allegations. The Archbishop of Bogotá also blasted the confidentiality agreements often attached to Catholic Church financial statements with victims as an attempt to buy their silence. Greek authorities say they have rescued 21 migrants found adrift in a small boat in a section of the northeastern Aegean Sea off the usual illegal immigration route. The migrants were located Thursday after Greek authorities received an emergency call reporting their boat was in trouble. Most migrants entering Greece illegally by sea from Turkey prefer the much shorter crossing to the eastern Aegean Sea islands, and the longer northern route is rarely used. And U.S. actor Jussie Smollett staged a fake attack on himself because he was dissatisfied with his salary, Chicago police say. Police Superintendent Eddie Johnson said in a news conference that he took advantage of the pain and anger of racism to promote his career. Mr. Smollett is charged with filing a false police report after he said he was the victim of a homophobic attack. Those are your latest updates here on Radio Cayman. I'm Shanta Gallego.
Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands.
What's happening in your community? News and information, music and more. You can find us. www.radiocayman.gov.ky. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter. Radio Cayman is your choice, your voice for today's biggest news. Radio Cayman.
Save time, don't stand in line. You can apply for or renew your trade and business license online 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Just visit dci.gov.ky and click on the Trade and Business Online application link. Now, you don't need to stand in line, take time out of your busy schedule or try to find parking. You can apply for your trade and business license online. Visit dci.gov.ky today and save time for running your business.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners' participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon. Welcome back to Talk Today. 949-8037. Or 1-800-534-8255. Glad that Radio Cayman can continue through its great resources, allow the nation to hear when its political leadership is making a speech, even if it's to the business sector, as at the Chamber's Legislative Luncheon. You just heard Honorable Premier give a speech, and we could carry it live, and hopefully you were able to listen somewhat. The beautiful part of it is that it's in the archive. Before there was freedom of information legislation, Radio Cayman was sort of leading the charge, always has its stuff available if anybody wanted to hear it. 949-8037, 1-800-534-8255. Call and share your thoughts with us. Give us a perspective. Now, interestingly enough, a couple of comments that were shared while the Premier was speaking. Certainly responded to some of the comments already in the media, a few that we have relayed just in the last little while since we've been here. The notion that the UK's government, is saying, okay, it's time that, in their views, there's this discriminatory practice of people, British nationals who are in the overseas territories. Time for them to be allowed, if they're permanently resident in those territories, to not only vote but stand in the election, be candidates, be elected to the legislatures, the parliaments, the legislative assemblies, whatever they're called, that body of people, who will be called upon to formulate and amend laws and set the policy and direction of the governments and the like. So not just the quote-unquote citizens of that jurisdiction, but all and sundry, who are British citizens and those who have permanent residency. Now, some people have been asking and calling for that for a while. Some would have no issue with it. Others would say, well, is that a little bit of a rush? Well, you would say, hasn't it been long in the making? Now, a couple of you will quickly identify that this issue will not only affect the political landscape as to who can be elected and who can do the electing, but what about in the employment sector? If, just use the context of being a Caymanian, for instance, well, would that also translate into the need that we would no longer need work permits, as it were, so that more and more people. Now, there are those who would question the job opportunities. Those would quickly recognize that the revenues that have been alleged that the governments rely heavily on over the years because of work permits and the fees that they get from it and the like, well, that'll be a source of revenue that's no longer available because, you don't pay for your work permit for a Caymanian, so therefore you wouldn't be paying for work permit, for this new category, this other category, this category that's been changed over. And that practice that may be seen, positioned, or otherwise alleged to be discriminatory is now no longer in existence. Would that also mean that the employment market, on one hand, has expanded? So there's freedom of movement of workers to a greater extent. But equally, will it make it perhaps more challenging if the allegation is that already the citizens of the country are finding it increasingly difficult to gain meaningful employment? Now, par for the course, was the writing on the wall and we ignored it? Is there anything that we can do about it? Your thoughts, 949-8037, 1-800-534-8255. I shared it with you in that a fellow said he just took snippets of advertisements, snippets of things that are printed in the media, either from let's say journalists or other writings in the print media, things that you can see. And he said, just look at the reference to Georgetown. Now, many would say when they relate in relation to Grand Cayman, there are two words, Georgetown, capital G and a capital T. Shouldn't be anything difficult, shouldn't be anything implied otherwise. But how often in recent times have we seen it as one word, Georgetown, where the T is joined, straight into the word George, and as the O-N's and the E's and the T's and stuff is all one word, like we see in other parts of the world that are named, are called Georgetown. Is that because, one, the people don't care and don't have no respect, they're just rushing or inattentive, or is it deliberate and perhaps even more sinister? Now, his view was that if we're unwilling to, acknowledge that and to ensure that practice, as simple as it is, but in his view, very telling, very significant, that is corrected, what else are we willing to turn, sort of a blind eye and accept, ignore other things? He also shared that there are times when we hear references to the country or its people or other areas where people obviously should know better, should have taken the time if they were a little bit more vested in what they were saying and doing and had a greater sense of respect for the country and its people, would ensure that their address and what they're saying is correct. Now, many of us get things wrong. We're misinformed. Sometimes we misspeak, we misquote. It's not that we're malicious. But then there are times when one has to question, could it be something more nefarious? 949-8037, 1-800-534-8255. Or you can WhatsApp 925-3261. Or if you choose, you can call us on 949-8037. And if you want, and when it comes through, if you send it, we will read it, if that is your intent. Email talktoday@candw.ky. Open line for the remainder until 2:30 as we take your calls and have you share with us. When Miss Susan's ready, when she says so, we play and press go, and we go to our phones when it's the time to do so. 949-8037, 1-800-534-8255, or 1-800-534-TALK. Either way, it's dials the same digits. We go to our phones, Miss Susan. Good afternoon and welcome. You're on Talk Today.
Yeah, well, that 800 number not working, boy.
Oh, I'm glad that you told us that, because I believe in that increasing every day. There's more challenges trying to get through the phone.
All right. I'd just like to pick up on something that you said a while ago about the UK and their
yes, sir.
potential mandate. As my mind went back into my hard drive, or as my thoughts went back into my hard drive, that approach was actually tried here many years ago.
Was it? Ah.
The approach of someone running for office. So you might look at that. You might look at that process or that case or whatever you want to call it, and see what happened in that. When that came on deck.
But as you shared that, I was looking at something someone sent through that there was in there's some names I've mentioned here that I won't, just out of respect for now, of people who wanted to stand for election but were advised, perhaps would be the word to use, that they wouldn't. But the person says in this message to me that is no longer applicable, that people who are eligible to stand for election now are much wider than we realize and only anticipating a legal challenge. Any thoughts on that? That could be potential what we're saying? Hello, sir? All right. Yes, sir?
Yeah, the thing you said might be much wider, the parameters, but going back to the incident or case that I'm thinking about, no, I think that there was actually a filing, probably with the election commission or election department at that time, to run as a candidate. So, you can pick that up somewhere along the line.
Yeah. Well, this is it, and as you shared, this isn't new, and it isn't something that hasn't been, at least in recent times, spoken of, alluded to somewhat, and even some semblance of public forum. Now, what would that mean for us? Have we had even a chance to discuss it? Is it, respectfully, as some have suggested, that these are things that have been ongoing in the political circles, but more quietly, without the public actually being that conscious that this was being considered?
Well, I think the ramifications of it would be, I think, detrimental, certainly in a sense, and I think in various ways to the Caymanian ethos. As you go back to, it was 1833 or 1825 or whatever, and just look at that aspect, and you'll see what the thoughts were on during those occasions, and even, I guess, move forward to would be the early 60s, and
Yep.
I think it makes for a compelling what dissertation on the whole process. If it goes any further than what so far has been aired.
No, and when we look at it, it's probably something that is going to transpire, and the public will be, like many things, unsuspecting. The last comment that this person sent through is how many of us actually pay attention to when the voters register is revised to look at it, and do we leave it only for the politicians and their candidates to say, okay, yeah, this person is, where are the challenges? Is it only the courts that should look at it?
Well, no, I think every citizen should be aware of what their opportunities are and take advantage of them as they so think. But the ramification that I think I heard the story actually, I guess, a little earlier than when it was reported 20 minutes ago or 15 minutes ago. But I lost my train of thought. That came out of Parliament, I believe, or was it suggested on the sidelines of Parliament?
This thing, I'll actually send you the report, but this is from the UK's Foreign Affairs Committee, and it's the actually I'll go back to it so I can get it specifically for you. And it's interesting how it's worded, because this is part of an excerpt, within the UK, and when we think about the whole issue of it, this comes out from the House of Commons Foreign Affairs Committee, the Global Britain and the British Overseas Territories, entitled Resetting the Relationship. It's presumably the 15th report of session 2017 to 19. Now, this is not the FCO, so many people may have unfortunately confused the two, but it's the Foreign Affairs Committee. And it's striking. It not only speaks to that issue, but it talks about same-sex marriages. It's also, as some would quite rightly recognize, that it'll extend beyond the political discussion and into the business environment as well, which could have implications on revenue measures if the interpretation is that not Caymanian and therefore not subject to work permits.
I don't think that process that you just described at its origins has not been closely or adequately considered. If you think of the discussions that have been going on over the last 3 months between Cayman and UK relative to constitutional tweaks or constitutional advancements or whatever you call it. So, connect the dots there.
Yep.
Anyway, I'll leave you with that.
Yes, sir. Well, I hope more people are at least willing to ask the question if they're not able or just yet willing to try to connect the dots. Thanks for that, sir. Let's pause and take a break. Many of us think, some of us talk, some of us actually think and then talk. Sadly, some of us talk and don't think. And sadly, some of those may be in a position that they're the ones that are heard. Well, let's go to the phones when we come back after the break. Stay tuned for Talk Today.
Did you know babies sleep an average of 14 hours per day? Tomlinson Furniture has cribs and beds for babies and toddlers, changing tables and more, including baby clothes and basket sets, like perfect gift packages prepared for newborns. Shop the Welcome Baby section of Tomlinson Furniture, corner of Hospital and Smith Road.
I'm Reverend John D. Jefferson on behalf of the Westland Holiness Church of West Bay, Georgetown, and Northside. We are proclaiming the good news of salvation by lifting up the banner of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ.
Are you looking to eliminate wrinkles and fine lines? Beyond Basics is offering Botox units at $9.95 each, a savings of $6 per unit. Get kissable lips, plump up cheeks, and reduce smile lines by saving $275 on dermal fillers. This February, love your skin with these specials and more at Beyond Basics. Call 916-SKIN to book your appointment today.
Excuse me, I noticed you from afar.
Really? Me?
Well, not you. The KFC sandwich you're eating?
Oh, Zinger.
Sorry, I'm not trying to be funny.
No, it's called the Zinger Sandwich. Crunchy, juicy, 100% chicken breast, crisp lettuce, sweet mayo on a seeded bun with a little zing. KFC's chicken is not factory breaded, frozen and refried like the Burger Boys. Customize your KFC Zinger and dip it in barbecue sauce.
Wow, now I'm starting to notice you too.
KFC, it's finger-licking good.
Whether you're planning your child's next birthday party or simply looking for a social night out, look no further than Kingpin Bowling at King Sports Center.
With a range of packages and specials for bowling parties, socials, and corporate team building, Kingpin Bowling offers what no one else can. The only bowling alley in Cayman. And it's indoor fun, which means no mosquitoes, AC, and don't forget about their bowling bar. Book your bowling lanes today. Call 946-BOWL. That's 946-2495. Email kingpinbowling@candw.ky. For more information, visit their website, www.kingsportscenter.com.
King Sports Center, providing your fitness, recreation, and relaxation needs.
Save time, don't stand in line. You can apply for or renew your trade and business license online 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Just visit dci.gov.ky and click on the Trade and Business online application link. Now, you don't need to stand in line, take time out of your busy schedule, or try to find parking. You can apply for your trade and business license online. Visit dci.gov.ky today and save time for running your business.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners' participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon. Welcome back to Talk Today. We invite you to share with us for the remainder and try one number only, 949-6990. Apologies, sometimes the other numbers don't work, but we do have a call online. Good afternoon, you're on Talk Today.
Hi, Sterling.
Hey, how are you, Mom?
Can we continue our conversation, or you don't want to hear about it?
No, no. I always want to hear, and I certainly don't. Hopefully, I haven't stated there's anything that made you feel. But we appreciate you loving us, being able to.
Oh, no.
Yes, Mom.
I understand.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Sterling. I'm so disturbed about this situation because these people knew they was coming here to do this big performance first time in the Cayman Islands, right? And to see that they come here, one individual, and broke our law, claim she didn't know it was her luggage, and it was in a container. But Sterling, it all boils down to when it comes to a Cayman passport, we are always thrown out to the wolves.
Yeah. But I thought I'd ask you though. I mean, I did not, and I was trying to find. You say it was a performer, or was it an individual who attended?
It's a woman who performed at the caboose.
And then there was somebody else too. Yeah, somebody else who had some of the issue too with ammunition and the like.
This one went to court and they charged her $300 and so forth. Yeah. But what I'm trying to get at, Sterling, we got people here on the radio wants to make ganja legal. Well, we're going to make things legal here regardless if we don't want or not. Because let me tell you something. That gas situation law, Sterling, it is coming and it's going to get passed one way or the other.
Right.
And Sterling, when we pass that, let me tell you something. More is coming. You know what's coming behind that, Sterling? You want to hear? They're going to be requesting. They want new beaches in Cayman. And then they're going to talk about having their own nightclubs. And then they're going to have the drag queens coming down here doing their performance.
But that's happening now, isn't it?
Thank you.
Now, if I may ask, I mean, and I hear what you're sharing, and I'm wondering where is the public's voice? Is it that what you're sharing is still reflective of the morals and ethos and consciousness of our people, or have we gone down that road so far that we have lost sight? And as you are, as well.
We lost sight, and we are a bunch of cowards.
Okay.
But we want things fixed, but we don't want to come and work towards fixing anything.
Right. Well, let's ask two things, right? Let's ask two things. One, the issue with the nightclubs that you reference. We understand that now, all but the absence of complete nudity, there are places you can go, and that behavior, that dancing, that whatever that is transpiring, is happening right now. I mean, tonight, today, whatever, right? It's there. A question that was asked of us, as you mentioned, that the person goes before the court, and the court says we can accept your reasoning for this thing. Seemingly to imply that ignorance of the law is now a defense, as opposed to the accepted tenet that ignorance is no defense. You didn't know about the law, but the law is there, and so therefore you did something that is against the law. You've committed an offense, right? Is it that we have allowed our courts or greater latitude to make more use of judge-made law, as some would share with us, because the community no longer is willing to enforce certain behaviors? They think it's not an offense anymore to do certain things?
They out here throw their hands up in the air saying, well, don't care what I say. They're not gonna do it my way. They're gonna do it their way. So why worry about it? But it's right in our dorm. It's in our backyard.
Is that where we are? I mean, is that the mindset of our people? Oh, well, they can do what they want anyway, so may as well. Don't try.
Well, I don't believe in that.
Well, I don't either.
I don't believe in that. That's why we are so behind today in life in Cayman, because we refuse to stand up for this country. This is a place we call the Cayman Islands. You can bribe, but I'm a Caymanian, but yet you don't do nothing to maintain your island. Excuse me?
But have we lost as Caymanians, first and foremost? And if this offends us, then I think, well, we need to look at it. But are we, as Caymanians, now lacking pride in the country, garbage on the roads, people behaving in ways, or politicians failing to maybe pass or amend laws or courts not sanctioning people, whatever that thing is that we feel isn't reflective of what we believe were or our values or historical context. Is that where we are now? That
it seems so, because Sterling, people is just giving up. They're losing hope, and there's a lot of promises out here, and there's a lot of still to gain.
Okay.
We just got to get out here and put ourselves towards it.
I want to share something with you, and I hopefully I do this properly and in a way that is comprehensible. I feel, I say all the time, I'm blessed. I mean that in many ways. I feel privileged that I know, hopefully, I can call them my friends and they don't feel offended. I know so many people from all walks of life, different nationalities, different ethnicities, different occupations, just wonderful people who have been here for a long time. And yet they're not Caymanian, some of whom over the years have become Caymanian. Mm-hmm. And when you listen to these people, genuinely, and I trust that I'm not betraying their confidence and their trust, and they tell you, why they like Cayman, the things that attracted them, the reasons why they stay. Things that we've heard many people say publicly, it's safe, wonderful place to raise a family, and all these things.
Yep.
But constantly, they all have shared that we now need to make sure that we preserve what is good about this country, Mm-hmm. And when you hear these people who are not Caymanian speak, their love, their respect, their appreciation that they seem to have for this country sometimes exceed the sentiments that you hear Caymanians, the pride that Caymanians would offer. And I wonder about that. And having them, in my life sort of allows me to appreciate, wow, you do live in a wonderful place, because these people have come and can see it and remind you.
Yeah, Sterling.
Mm-hmm.
We select the government every 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody know that. We got the police department. We got the court system there, but it seems like it's not much of a protection for the few Caymanians that are left. Like we're not doing anything to enhance them, to continue to live on and enjoy the little bit of Cayman that we do have left, because the few Cayman that we got left, we got all soon be gone in the next 15 years. It get us a foreign island. It got be no Caymanians. Because if we got little young grandchildren come now, they probably pack up and go elsewhere to a certain extent, because they can't hold in Cayman. There's no space for them. So all I'm saying today, that our laws got to be held to, and stop making people come here and put what they want to put on us and break our laws to please them. Because if I had went to Miami and they found that in my luggage, they would take him right downtown to the court, to the jailhouse. They don't give a rat's where I come from and who I am and how much I can sing and how much I can sew and how much I can cook. You break the law, they're gonna do what they're gonna do with you. But Sterling, sweetheart, I thank you so much. I gotta go do the school bus now.
Yeah, well, thank you too, and love the passion that you have, and hopefully people appreciate that what you're sharing is for not just today's interest and good, but the long term of all of us. Thank you very much, Mom. And for those who listen, as we close it out, here's a quick WhatsApp that came through. It says maybe something may start to pick up on in the morning. You will continue in the other means. Use the talk shows that are out there and to your advantage. Says the UK will want the right to vote and run in elections. Says that's the Caymanians' fault by getting UK passports. It says when we become the same as them, they become the same as us. So I think Caymanians think before you leap. Says Cameron Davis, for instance, should only fly up to Montego Bay and just flying to Kingston only. That way, it will reduce the wear and tear and the cost of landing on the planes. It's interesting, what we're doing. Wow. So it looks like the Foreign Affairs recommendations are aimed to crippling the Cayman. I also believe some are paying attention. Thank you very much for sharing. Tomorrow's Friday. A couple of things going to happen. God's willing, in the morning you can join Mr. Art for the record. And then stay tuned for our program and come back for Talk Today slot. And in that normal slot, together under the auspices of Mr. Loxler Banks, we have the CI Retro Talk Today sort of edition, and we're focusing on our maritime. Looking forward to learning more and being engaged. Enjoy yourselves. Thanks again for all you've done. Continue to do and make this country safer, secure, and stable. Until tomorrow, be blessed.
I'm Reverend John D. Jefferson on behalf of the Westland Holiness Church of West Bay, Georgetown, and Northside. We are proclaiming the good news of salvation by lifting up the banner of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ.